Whim listeners, and welcome to season 3 of the On a Whim podcast.
Yeah, we're back.
Yes,
I heard a cutoff woo. Did you hear a cutoff woo?
It's because of the Discord.
Oh, I see. I see.
So yeah, listener, if you're tuning in for the first time, we are the On a Whim podcast. We like to release episodes seasonally, depending on how we live life and the adventures of different people involved in it. But let's all introduce ourselves, since we got some new audience members. Hopefully, maybe. I'm Paul.
I'm Grover. New. I was a guest host last season, right, in Jabari's absence, but I'm glad to be here. I think on a more permanent basis.
Yeah, and I'm Jabari Lewis Smith. Let's do this. Woo!
Yeah, Jabari returns as my central co-host. We're all co-hosts, really. There's not really one of us that does the heavy lifting around here. We all equally suck, so it's okay.
Damn, that went a different way.
Yeah, that's
I'm shaking
really
my head. Yes,
there, Paul.
I heard that.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to be back. As promised, over a year ago, because I was reminded that On a Whim season 2 ended over a year ago.
It was over a year ago.
Yeah, it's over.
Has it
Just a
been that
short
long?
hiatus.
It's been quite a while. Well, a lot of things have happened.
Yeah, I want to lead us into that, Grover. What's happened in the last year? Besides Jabari moving to a new state and career changes.
Well, yeah. Geez, we actually, we shut down the physical studio, right? We're completely virtual now, and that's been quite a change, right? And Spellbearers was nominated for an award.
Woo!
Yeah, that was really exciting. We got into the Rope Jam, right? So we were nominated for an audience award, and that ended just a little bit ago. And unfortunately, we didn't get top 3, but we're still considered for other categories. So,
yay! Vote early, vote often.
Yeah. So if you did vote and you supported us, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Really appreciate the support. And yeah, other than that, we recently announced that we're working on a PS5 version of Spellbearers.
Yes, because we got a PS5 dev kit.
Yeah.
It is in the room next door. It felt like it wasn't gonna happen, but then it happened, and it's just amazing.
Yeah. So we officially announced that PS5. We're working on the Xbox version. And yeah, we're trying to get a Steam Deck for sure. But those are a little bit harder to come by until the release, right? So a lot of developers have been posting on Twitter that they've gotten theirs and they've been showing it off, and we've been trying, but we're doing what we can for sure.
So do you guys remember when we first became a thing and we were trying to get on Steam?
Yeah.
And that was the hardest thing ever of all time.
Yeah.
Do you think Steam's going back to that, or is it just
I think at first Steam was this is we want the community to curate the games and everything, and they had Steam Greenlight and everything like that, and what it turned out to be was there was no transparency in how would a game be greenlit, right? So a lot of people flocked to itch.io and stuff and treated Steam as these big leagues, right? But then what was it, a year or two ago? They changed it to where you just pay the $100 Steam Direct fee and you get on there. And I personally like that better because the $100 is there to just prevent any old spam to get on there. And I feel that the community should be rating the games. I think they should be rating it that's already on there rather than voting for it on some kind of green light. You know what I mean? I'd rather it come through the ratings of the game, hey, this game sucks, negative review, as opposed to. But then you get into review bombing and all that stuff on Metacritic, and then that gets into its own can of worms.
So how long until we get rid of the dislike button and the negative downvote in Steam?
I mean, a year ago, right? A year ago, there was a dislike button on YouTube, and now you can only get that through
analytics.
What was it?
You can still do a dislike. You can still dislike a video, but it's not visible anymore.
Oh yeah, through the back end, right?
Yeah.
It's they only disabled it on the front end. So there's add-ons, browser add-ons that you can do to where you can dislike things. But a lot of people are review bombing a lot of different games, right? When they don't agree with like something the developer did, right? And I don't agree with that. I believe that a review should come in through the game's content, right? As opposed to review bombing it based off of a publisher's thing. The whole team shouldn't suffer because some higher ups decide to be stupid, in my opinion.
I see what you're going into there. Yeah. Jabari, from the marketing standpoint, how does that the dislike button going away or that affect how, like, I think back to the end of the year review YouTube video starring the Fresh Prince himself, Will Smith. was review bombed to hell, if I remember. So does that change how marketing works, like among, or is it just like weapons free? It doesn't matter no more.
I mean, with the like and dislike button, of course, if you're marketing something and your project gets like a whole bunch of dislikes, that's terrible. That's going to reduce your likes, because people are going to be like, oh wow, this video's terrible, so I'm not going to watch this. But it's really controversial, actually, the like and dislike button, because you can't get publicity through negative stuff, right? So if you see like a video that's getting a whole bunch of dislikes, and people are just like, I wonder why they're getting a whole bunch of dislikes, so they'll watch through the video. But since they taken that out, I feel like it's going to be more of a plus for anybody who does YouTube regularly, influencers and such, because people that do watch that video is just going to see the positive, all the lovely likes that's on there. So the chances of them watching through it more is increased. Say it again.
Well, go ahead.
Well, it's only likes, right? Only likes are visible. Something can be disliked into oblivion, but only the content creator will see it.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah. There's a flip side to this, right? A big kind of content that suffers from not having a dislike button is like guides or tutorials, right? Usually you could tell if a tutorial sucks if there's like, you open it up and there's a lot of dislikes, and like, that's not how you do it. This is, well, they would say it much more harsh than that, but you would see a lot of dislikes. It's like, okay, maybe I need to find a better tutorial. But now you have to judge it by, okay, it has a lot of views, but it has a low amount of likes compared to the amount of views, right? You have to do a little bit more math on your side to figure it out, right? And, when you're trying to learn something else, the last thing you want to do is like, okay. And so the point that I'm trying to make is that, when you look at a video with a lot of dislikes, you have to look at the like ratio to the amount of views and use that to judge, is this worth watching? Is this a waste of my time? Or if it is a waste of my time, why is it a waste of my time? If you're curious.
So yeah, that's a fair take on it, right? We just want to get quality content out there, right? We know it's so easy to lose good content in the sea of just endless, people just putting things out there. Like TikTok motivates them for more than anything else, right?
Yeah.
If you're not catching attention spans in the first 5 seconds, you're already swiping and moving on.
Jabari, are you sure you're talking about TikTok or dating apps there?
¿Por qué no los
yes.
Oh.
If they don't grab your attention in the first 5 seconds, you swipe.
¿Por qué no los dos?
Yeah.
Basically.
That's pretty funny.
Right.
It could apply to both. So
yeah, for sure. Not that I've ever gone on Tinder or any of those.
Yeah.
Not my experience. So Jabari, that changes. Not that dating apps lead into you.
I was like, hold on, what?
Speaking of life changes, Jabari, what? Tell me about what's your update since May of last year when we posted our last episode. How's life?
May of last year? Has it been? I felt like we recorded
like
earlier this year, but I guess not. But shoot, I moved and I'm over here in Washington State now. And I'm trying to move out already, but
how cold is it?
Working at Amazon and quitting Amazon. It's freaking cold. I feel like I'm in a refrigerator every single day.
Jabari,
I do not want to get out
I
of
have
bed.
been freezing down here in Southern California. I actually had to wear a vest when I came to Paul's house. It was 75 degrees, and I'm just like, oh
my god.
oh my gosh. I was like,
shoot.
man, I actually have to not run the heater.
Yeah, right now it's
Jabari,
here.
there is no snow on the ground presently.
It's 45.
Yeah.
And any of the places I've been to.
I assumed.
Yeah.
Right now we don't have any snow, but around Christmas time, when I decided to go back to California, that was probably a mistake. There was a whole bunch of snow. And I was just like, oh, this is great. And then after 2 days of just being in it, I was like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, I've heard
This is a
people get
wonderful
over
winter wonderland.
people get over the winter wonderland really quickly when they have to like live in it
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
For me, it's just nice to see it from far away, right? So, all right.
Yeah, it was nice just sitting in my house with my cats, just watching it snow. But then, the next day I have to go to work.
Gee!
I'm just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
my cats are like banging they're hitting the doors and stuff like that. They're playing. They're pretty loud.
Hey, they're not louder than my dogs. My dogs
Yeah,
are our musical guest audience.
Yeah, exactly. Paul has a dog orchestra that's been out there. Like when I would listen to the other episodes, I would just hear the dog orchestra in the background.
Yeah.
And they're even more
yeah.
excited that I'm here, right? So they're playing extra loud,
Yeah, they're playing for new guests,
Yeah.
so they're gonna be even more more in there.
Yeah.
So that's Grover and Jabari's kind of update. My update, same old Paul. Nothing much, nothing really changes. Just I keep adding to the to-do lists that
Well, you got a new truck.
yes. So yes, I have joined the ranks of the annoying rednecks that roll coal people. No, Jabari, this thing's I remember I told you about it. It's a 2500 Dodge Ram diesel truck, Cummins, like way more like power than any really human needs.
You said your neighbors treat you with respect now, but they didn't respect you before, right?
So it's comedy because like now my fellow neighbors like come out and greet me and accept me like as one of the pack.
One
Like
of us.
Oh, man.
like they were, that Family Guy episode where Peter comes back after saying an explicit in the
They
hood,
respect me.
and he came back. He's like, they respected me. That's how I feel, but like among like men, right? Because they ask me what I do for a living. I'm like, oh yeah, I do this for a living. They're like, oh, okay. Like, what am I, less of a man because I work in an office and deal with feelings?
I get asked that every single day.
What, do you have feelings?
No, I don't leave my house.
Well,
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
People had to do welfare checks on you. We mentioned that in the last episode.
Grover, are you alive? Yes. Well, okay. I'll check on him
Yes.
tomorrow.
Are you alive? Yes.
Oh, good.
Damn
He's
it.
breathing today.
Damn it.
Dang.
No, I have to be
no.
straight up. I have to give credit Grover for one of the sickest burns I've ever heard in my short life. We went out for a business meeting with one of our actually Whimindie team members. So
Yeah. We met them for a business meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, and on the way back, I was telling Grover how I just finished watching the new Disney movie Encanto, and I said that like very gringo. Let me try that again. Encanto, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference? Trust me, listener. And I mentioned how one of the scenes made me like emotional, like tears, right? And I said,
I compared it. Was it like Coco?
And I said, well, unlike Coco, where I was ugly crying, and Grover, in his everlasting deadpan delivery, says, "Oh, for you, it's just regular crying."
No, for you, it's just crying. Paul laughed all the way to dinner. It was great.
I was like, it was a burn so savage. I was medium rare to medium the rest of like the week,
And then we ordered
the steaks
Yeah.
that tasted like sadness and supply chain shortage.
Yeah.
and
Oh man.
and puppy orchestras.
That was an evening.
That was an adventure.
Oh, I don't think I ever finished the topic of like when the rest of the games are coming out.
Oh no, yeah, go into that.
Yeah. So, Spellbearers, we announced on the 1st that we have a PS5 version in development. We're working on getting a Steam Deck so we can test on that, because I feel like that's gonna be really, really big. Maybe that might not age well. Who knows?
Oh my!
But we'll see. And then we're working on the PC and Steam release, but for Spellbearers, it's going to happen in tiers, right? So it's not going to be a simultaneous release. We want to make sure every console is as smooth as it can be, right? And has it has a similar level of quality. And we're a small team, right? We can't just push it all out on the same day, unfortunately, unless we had more funding. So we're going to do it. We're going to release it over the spring and early summer in tiers, where we're going to do the Steam and PC version first, and then honor our backers that wanted to go for that option. And then we're going to work on the Xbox version next, and then the PS5 version after that. And hopefully there won't be too much of a gap, but we do need to do a little bit more testing and make sure that everything, it's consistent across all the platforms. I am a little bit worried about Steam Deck, right? Because it's a little bit of a weaker, right? Because it's a handheld like the Switch, right? It is going to be a little bit weaker, so we might have to cut some settings down a little bit. But I hope that it won't be too much. So yes, that's Spellbearers. For Celatria, we're working on the final 2 chapters. I was working on it before I came to record this
About
podcast.
damn time.
Yeah. And part of that meeting that we went to, that we were talking about, we're discussing making the trailer, right?
Yep.
And Jesse's working on the trailer. She did an amazing job with the Antics trailer, and she did an amazing job with Celatria Part 1 trailer. So we're commissioning her to do the trailer for the full game, but we really want to make sure it's a really good trailer that's representative of the full game. So I'm trying to, make tweaks up until the very bitter end. And we're trying, I can't confirm that we're doing development on it, but we're trying to make sure that we have a Steam Deck version of Celatria that'll work. But there's a lot of issues with the music and sound that we're trying to figure out. Yeah, so we're working on Celatria and making sure that it's really great up until the end. I don't want it to feel like it's rushed, and I don't want it to feel like certain other games where it's all the way good until the very end and then it sucks, right, Paul? I don't want it to be like that.
I don't want to be Mass Effect 3.
Yeah,
I don't want to be Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, so we're
Please.
We're trying our hardest. I've been working a lot on it, while keeping my health intact.
Yeah, that's
nobody
important.
should ever burn out working on
Again.
Yeah.
So the fact that Grover wanted to make fun of Mass Effect 3 is because I have a PS5 and I decided to play through the Mass Effect trilogy on it, right? The remastered Mass Effect trilogy.
Oh, yep.
All the way on the PS5 with the graphics, and it's every bit as much as awesome as I remember. But I cannot bring myself to finish Mass Effect 3.
Oh, you stopped just short of it?
Yeah.
I wasn't making a reference to that. I just know that Mass Effect 3 has a bad ending.
So then I continued on to the other games on my stack of shame.
Right.
Which Grover has a view of it right there in front of the PS5.
Yeah.
It's coming along nicely. It's not quite as extensive as yours,
Grover.
Oh,
yeah. Mine's two things.
And then games that Jabari and both Grover have added, and Matt, and all the awesome friends I have that are giving me too many choices of awesome games.
In due time.
Yeah, I'll get to it eventually. So Jabari, you have the daunting task of marketing 2 releases in a given year, and so how are you feeling about that? Despite all the pressure we're putting on you.
It's not just pressure. It's not just pressure on Jabari. I just want to interject. It's pressure on me too, because I, from a development standpoint, we had said between us, it's like, this is the year we have to do it, right? This is the year we have to finish the games, not only market them, but we got to finish them and we got to put them out there. Celatria, 11 years, man. 11 years. That's a long time. And I'll freely admit on a podcast, the 4 of those 11 years, I didn't know what I was doing. Now, which 4 of those 11 years that I didn't know what I was doing is up for debate. But we had really 7 really good years of hard developments, and it's time to really bring it in. And it's not just on Jabari on marketing. It's really on the whole team that we were giving it our all.
Well, like at my work, I'll tell someone, if you don't win, don't bother coming back, right?
Yeah. So I didn't mean to take your thunder, Jabari. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. It's all good. I mean, marketing, it could be easy. It could be hard. It's just trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. And you just have to try different things. But unfortunately for like a small game studio, we have nobody in our audience. And it's hard to build that audience. It takes a lot of time.
Right.
And right now, like, I feel like one of the best ways for like a small studio or just people who are just starting off with marketing in general is to leech off somebody else's audience and try to build your audience like that. So that's where influencer marketing comes in. That's when collaborating with other companies comes into hand. That's where I'm trying to focus on now, because that's going to be the biggest that's going to be the key thing that really gets our game in front of other people, since we're kind of limited on what we can do with like COVID, going to events and stuff like that. And and all honesty, it's probably one of the cheaper ways to go right now, because since we're not going to cons, travel, having the people come in and actually advertise it, paying that table fee and stuff like that could pretty much add up pretty quickly. But instead of doing that, if you go to somebody that already has developed their own audience already and mooch off of them by giving them $400-$500 or so, that can really put you on the spot, or it could put you out there pretty easily. But it's also a big risk. I think I was talking to you guys earlier that that's something I've been talking with a influencer agency on YouTube for a different, I don't want to say a different game. There's a different type of games that we make, but they're all gamers. They have a gamer audience, and it's like people that I think might like Spellbearers. But I've been talking to an agency for a bit, and we've just been going back and forth, and they've been showing me different influencers, and and I'm just like, okay, yeah, I like this person, I don't really like this person, or this influencer, they don't match our image and stuff like that. But
they want that much money to promote our game.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, money, like shoot, like $1,200 for a 30-second shout out on one of their videos. It's, it could be expensive, but if you it's a calculated risk. If you calculate it, you can come up definitely on top, or you could break even, or you could just be a little bit under the bar. But it's just stuff we're gonna have to like try out. But up front, paying the money is
so you're saying marketing is like video game development and Excel spreadsheets
combined,
where you just like lower your head and just go towards the brick wall
again
and again and again. So it's kind of funny that the three of us have that kind of shared experience, that our job pretty much when we combine comes down to trial error and finding out what's successful, what's not, getting
people to care. Right. I mean, even as like you as a counselor, your job is to get students to care about, coming to school and doing work and caring about, being in the, what is it? The system that they're in. Caring about the system. But,
what is it? The triangle offense from Phil Jackson? The system?
You know where I'm trying to get.
Yeah, I got you.
And my job as a developer is I need to make the game fun enough to where it has a high count on Steam. It's got players are playing for a long amount of time. that it, that people care enough to tweet about it with word of mouth, right? And then Jabari's job as marketing is get new people on that sales funnel, right? And it's just what the point I'm trying to make is it's very, very difficult for people to get people to care.
Yeah, I concur.
Especially in a post-pandemic apathetic world, right? Where everybody's just like, they're just care about themselves and want to be.
Yeah, there's entire subreddits now dedicated to like anti-work.
Yeah.
Like, r/anti-work and that whole Great Recession movement. So yeah, there's a lot of apathy out there. Like
it's like I don't need this.
Yeah.
And then I think what people are trying to go for nowadays is, people that are genuine, right? Like even companies that I've seen, right? They've been posting about stuff and they have this like really formal company stance on things, right?
Sure.
Like we're about to talk about the topic, but NFTs, right? Square Enix they made this really at the beginning of the year. They made this really formal statement about NFTs. Is like, we understand some of our players like to play our games for fun, and some of them like to build a community and
for fun.
Yeah. And I was like, so Square Enix does not care about fun. Like what, and I think players, I think not only players, but people are just tired of this corporate BS statements. They want to hear something that's genuine and right to the it sounds like you're talking to a person, not like you're being talked to by a robot.
Sure. So they want fun, but with a D, right?
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
They want fun with a D. That's
fun with a D.
Yeah. So yeah, speaking of NFTs, that's it's kind of been a huge like up movement in the indie game community.
Yes.
Where what was it? It was just a bunch of indie developers came together and pretty much put blanket statements off. We were one of them. Team 17.
Yeah. So Team 17 is a big indie game publisher. They published I believe Yooka-Laylee, Overcooked. I know you're a big fan of Overcooked.
Yes.
Yes. And a lot of other games. And they came out with the NFT for Worms. I think it's Worms. I might have this wrong. But they just made this statement saying, we're working on NFTs, and it was a significant backlash, right? From players, from their all of the like Platonic Games who did Yooka-Laylee, right? They're under Team 17. They said, we're not thinking of using NFTs in the future. Overcooked spoke out against it, and it was just on Twitter a big people like, we're not planning on using NFTs. What they're saying does not represent what we want to do.
Sure.
And even though we don't have a publisher like that at this moment, as of this recording, that's not a position I want to put the studio in either. It's not that I'm super against NFTs or anything like that. If people want to do it, that's fine. I don't think that's in the vision of Whimindie to do that. I'd rather with no fun with a D or anything like that. I want to make games that are fun. And that's first and foremost.
No D.
With no D. Yeah.
So I want you guys to rewind all the way back, because I keep hearing about what in NFTs, but I have no idea what it is. I read a quick sentence on it. Don't even remember what that was. Does it deal with blockchain memory or something? I have I don't even know how it works, how you make money. I know South Park made fun of it, and I was just
who
laughing.
doesn't, right?
They've already made they churn out episodes pretty quickly.
Yeah, their animation style kind of lends itself. But Grover, give us like a quick.
Ooh, you're putting the spotlight on me.
5 minute,
I can't give it 5 minutes.
5 minute presentation of NFTs.
Just a very layman's definition of what an NFT is.
Sure.
Like you would talk to your dad or
I'll
your
tell
grandpa.
My dad, my grandpa. So NFTs. So what I think it came up with is a lot of art gets stolen on Twitter, on Instagram, and I may be completely wrong that this is the source of where this came from in this industry. So feel free to correct me in the comments or wherever you decide to listen to your podcast.
Wherever you want to follow podcasts.
Yes, exactly. But one of the problems was that, you know, art was getting stolen, and some people were claiming it as theirs and whatnot. And so it was kind of introduced to this community as like, okay, when you purchase this asset, you know, it becomes traceable. Like, okay, it was from this original owner through this encrypted data, right? And when it's sold, this person becomes the owner of this token, this non-fungible token, which is an NFT, right? And they become the owner of it. But and it is pretty much just a virtual receipt that, hey, I am the original creator, or I own this art, or whatever it is. And it's secured by the blockchain. And the blockchain, if you don't know what a blockchain is, it's a long string of encrypted data. And when somebody buys something, or when some kind of transaction is made, you have another quote unquote block onto this chain that cannot be changed, right? It says if I buy something from Paul, it'll always be recorded that Paul was the previous owner to me, right? And this cannot be changed due to long encryption, right? So that's what a token is. It's just saying that, hey, I own this receipt to this last block on this chain, and I own this, therefore I own this asset. Some things I've been seeing about why people don't like it is, for example, like it could be an image that's hosted on Imgur or something like that. I'm just using it.
Imager.
Is it Imager?
I don't know what it is.
Oh, okay. With you. Anyway, and somebody like, okay, I'm gonna decide to take this down, right? And then you get a 404 error or something like that, and it's like, well, but I own this, but now I own a receipt to nothing because it was taken down, right?
Right.
And there's just a lot of different ways where it can be manipulated. It feels like one of those things that was kind of like, yeah, the blockchain tech was great, but it's a whole lot of nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so there's also another issue where, like, in the art example that I mentioned earlier, where, like, for example, you can artificially inflate it, right, by selling things to yourself, right? So, for example, there's like, you know, you have this really crappy drawing, this objectively crappy drawing, and somebody sells it to quote unquote themselves for $32,000. There's a blockchain, right, saying a transaction that's saying, hey, this sold for $32,000.
Sure.
This, and other people get into panic. This crappy drawing must be valuable. There's something in this thing, and right.
FOMO.
They get that FOMO, right? And they want to purchase it for this obscene amount of money. And a lot of people, they got, you know, you see it in the news. A lot of people like, you know, this, you know, they got themselves out of bankruptcy by selling this stuff for $150,000 because people were just trying to jump into the hype, right? But I feel like maybe this is just me being skeptical, but it's going to be like the .com bubble burst in the 2000s where everybody was getting into the hype and then it just exploded, and then there's going to be a big downturn. And I feel like that's what's going to happen with NFTs. And gamers, you know,
a fickle bunch.
Bless your heart. Use that as a double entendre.
Oh, you summer child.
Yeah, but you know, they call companies out on their BS. Like, you're not here to make this better for me. You're here to get money. You're here to go on this craze.
Fun with the D.
Yeah, fun with the D.
Yeah.
And people are kind of tired of it.
Absolutely.
So, like, if you want to be NFTs, just admit you're scummy.
Well, I mean, we have the things that are happening in video games as it is, and game devs like Activision, Blizzard. What's the amalgamation of their entire title? Like, I forgot. I've lost count.
I was in a video call earlier today with somebody, and she was talking about, you know, you want, you know, you guys are indie. You guys aren't like the people working at Activision or Blizzard or Obsidian. I said, oh, you mean Microsoft? So I thought it was pretty funny.
I mean, for the record, I don't know. No, we're above board. In the words of Lewis.
Oh no,
Lewis voice actor.
She wasn't talking about like being like scummy like that. You know, she was saying like we're indie as opposed to like a AAA developer, not not being scummy like Activision
No,
Blizzard.
right. No,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is the voice actor of Lewis, River Kane,
Oh yeah,
once said that we're the most professional outfit he's ever worked with.
yeah,
And I still put that as a feather in my cap.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
up for that.
He put a tweet about that a couple weeks ago,
Mhm.
and he's like, I still believe this, and I was like, yes. we gotta bring him on to one of these.
No, we
episodes,
would
for
love
sure.
to have him and several of the other Whimindie peeps
Yeah,
come on here as we get ever closer to our
Celachia's release.
to our Solitaire release. We want to kind of bring everyone in and kind of just talk about it. But that's a preview for later this season.
Yeah, it would be a really cool to bring on a who's who of the development team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully not in my room.
They'll talk about they'll talk about their war stories. Yeah.
Yeah. And then my room.
Yeah.
So speaking of Microsoft proposing to purchase Activision Blizzard or Blizzard Activision.
Activision Blizzard. Yeah.
Right. So for the sake of transparency, right, it is not a final sale by any stretch of the imagination.
I was going to ask you that question. I said, do you think it's going to be blocked by anybody?
So right now in Congress, more the Senate than the House, there is already antitrust legislation going through that is specifically targeting big tech, your Apples, your
Cognizant.
I don't know if Cognizant was named, but like AT&T, just big tech in general. Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, is Congress going to be, for the lack of a better term, dumb enough to apply that to this deal, right?
Yeah.
Because Microsoft is just acquiring, who knows, 200 plus IPs out of this, right? And
Microsoft owns Spyro.
Mm-hmm.
They own Crash Bandicoot.
Yep.
They own Tony Hawk's. They might as well own Tony Hawk.
They might as well own.
This is purchased the song Superman.
If you're listening to Mr. Hawk, shouts out. I liked you in Pro Skater 3.
I didn't, Mr. Hawk, I played up to 3, and I didn't play any game past that. I played a little bit of the remastered stuff before the whole Bobby Kotick thing, and then I stopped playing all Activision Blizzard games. But yeah.
So your take, speaking that you brought up Bobby Kotick, right? Mm-hmm. How do you feel about him surviving the initial purge? Because the day before Microsoft announced, they made this a joint announcement, right?
Yeah.
There was it was like Red Tuesday going on, the Red Wedding going on. If for those of you who watch what's it called? That Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
The Red Wedding, right? Just a massive purge, Saturday Night Massacre, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Right.
Where dozens of people at Activision just out of unemployed. You're fired.
Yeah.
Like Oprah giving out red sheets.
Oprah giving out cars.
No, but in this time she's giving out pink sheets.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because that's what
or Tyra Banks giving out Vaseline.
Oh my.
Oh, you haven't seen that video?
No.
Oh, geez. Okay. I'll post it on the Whimindie Discord.
We'll post it on the Whimindie.
After, I'll post that.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but Bobby Kotick survived the initial purge. The initial one, right? Because for as well as I do, when two giant conglomerates merge, there's going to be some people that don't survive. Yeah. And I read this more than anything in Jason Schreier's book, the last one I read, right? Blood, Sweat, and Pixels.
Yeah.
That when two things merge and you're fired and you're redundant.
I always say the biggest lie is I've ever been told was that after an acquisition, everything's gonna be the same. There's no change to business. I was like, no.
There is no war in Boxing Day.
Yeah. No.
So how do you feel, Grover, about Bobby Kotick surviving?
Sure. So to me, I think he's gonna. I don't like him. Right. Sure. I'm gonna preface that by saying that I don't like his ethics, and I don't. Yeah, I stopped playing all Activision Blizzard games until he steps down. I've publicly said that.
Sure.
Right. So I really want him to be gone. But that being said, until the deal is finalized and everybody's actually reporting to Phil Spencer, like why would they, who are they going to replace him with? Right. They tried to get other executives into that position right, or to working under him, and they all quit already, right? I don't
under Koch or Spencer?
Under Koch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am
And
I
they're
saying
like,
that wrong? Koch?
I don't care.
Well, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, he's totally listening. We're here bashing him. He's totally listening.
No, we'll know because I'll get a cease and desist letter.
There you go. Yeah, from and Microsoft will and then we'll just mail Microsoft, who we have a deal with, to say, hey, your subsidiary's acting up again. Your future subsidiary's acting up again.
Get it in line. Come on, I'm a partner here.
I will go on Face. I used to be on Face. I will go on record.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be really cruel to Microsoft, right? I would criticize them in E3s about how out of touch they were, and with the Xbox One, where they feel like you couldn't share discs, they wanted it, that whole thing, right?
Yeah.
But with Microsoft's acquisitions, one, they're trying to finally build up a first party library of titles,
right? Two,
I think Phil Spencer, who wasn't in the lead when Xbox One came into play, I think he's doing a really, really good job, because he has this no nonsense approach that it reminds me of like Microsoft's Reggie, really,
right? Reggie, as in
Reggie Fils-Aimé, not our Reggie.
Okay, not Whimindie Reggie,
not Whimindie.
Hi, Reggie.
Yeah. I it's funny because Reggie Fils-Aimé, he's known as the Reginator, but I call Reggie, who works with the studio, the Reginator.
The better one. The good one.
Oh, man.
The Reginator. Yeah. But that aside, I think Phil Spencer's doing a really good job leading Microsoft and Xbox. And
Microsoft Gaming.
Microsoft Gaming. Yeah. CEO of Microsoft Gaming now, as of now. And for our studio, when we tried to pitch our games, Xbox and Microsoft were the only ones that enthusiastically worked with us from pretty much day one.
You're like, yes, we want it.
that is when I completely pivoted, and I will go on record for saying that.
Fun with a D.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they were just completely supportive with us from day one. They loved our game from the start. There was no corporate. Well, there probably was, but they were really nice and working with us and answering our questions and really helping us port Spellbearers. So
absolutely,
with that, I used to give them a lot of crap, and I really support them now.
Yeah, to our big corporate overlords of Big M, they've always been quick to get any paperwork to me to sign. And if not to me, they let Jabari know, who then Jabari told me, Paul, sign this real quick. And I'm like, what am I signing? Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
it. I think that's all we can talk about on a podcast. But yeah, they have been very supportive with us, and so I'm just really happy with that. And Xbox Game Pass, I personally like to own my games. That's my personal thing.
Sure.
But there a lot of these acquisitions it's to bolster up the Game Pass, right? Got it. We're going for Netflix as a gaming service, right? Software as a service is not only in gaming, but your Adobes are doing it, your Microsoft's doing it with Office. That's where the money's at. Microsoft doesn't make most of their money from gaming or even from Office or even from selling Windows. They make most of their money from the Azure. Do you guys know what Microsoft Azure is?
I have an idea.
Yeah, it's kind of like their tech stack.
Yeah, Azure, yeah, whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah, like Azure, whatever.
Sorry, Big M, I didn't mean it.
But it's they have their own task manager system, like how we use like Hack and Plan for our studio stuff.
Yeah.
They have their own task management system that's in their
own Slack
called
Microsoft
DevOps.
Teams.
Yep, Microsoft Teams.
Yep.
Slack, that's included with their Office. That's all included in this, what they call it, a tech stack, and it's called DevOps and Microsoft Azure.
Got it.
And they make so much money selling this, and so many big companies are using. They want to use this rather than paying for Slack separately and paying for Jira separately or paying for this. They just pay for this one all-in-one thing, and it's like $12 per user times thousands of users, for big tech, right? Microsoft's bringing in all that money.
In the money.
Yeah, trillions
Trillions.
of dollars, because other tech companies use Microsoft Stack.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
Jabari, when it comes to these like giant mergers, right? The first thought is, holy crap, they're buying it, right? Like it's really happening. But what are the optics when it comes down to like, with all the nonsense that's been going on with Activision Blizzard? Do you think it's just good? Microsoft's going to take it on and just like, what are Microsoft's chances of like cleaning that crap up? I mean, it's pretty filthy up in those hallways up in Blizzard, and you know, I know, right?
Oh no.
yeah, the things I've heard, it's just absolutely despicable. Yeah.
So Jabari, does Microsoft comes in already with that Bill Gates, you know, kind of acquiring people and, you know, bullying people out and the whole big tech aspect. Do they even have a chance to clean this all up, or is it going to just slowly phase out? What do you think, Jabari?
I feel like they definitely will clean it up. Most likely they're going to go through a series of firing certain individuals that were, you know, a part of that whole fiesta over there. And once they fire those people, you know, they're going to be rebranding acquisition. Sorry, I can't even say the name. How do you say
acquiring? Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
You're
Acquisitions, yeah.
Yeah, so they're definitely going to be rebranding them because they're not going to take away their name. They're not going to change the name or anything like that. It will be its own. It'll still be continue with its own name, be its own entity in a sense. But Microsoft is, the sugar daddy of that company now. But yeah, they definitely will. It's going to take some time, but they definitely will bring back that company's name and put it into a green light, unless they decide to just let them do what they've been doing, and if they don't supervise them correctly, it could be even bigger problem, and which will bleed over to Microsoft itself if stuff like this keeps happening. But
they'll call it Activision Blizzard King 365.
But yeah, they'll get their chance. It's gonna take some time to build back that reputation, though.
The luster of Blizzard and Activision.
Yeah,
Tony Hawk 360.
5.
Tony Hawk 360. Oh man.
Crash Bandicoot X.
Oh no.
I'm sorry.
No,
Crash
Bandicoot.
Pro
no.
Skater.
Crash Bandicoot.
So, is this going to be a trend going forward, gentlemen? PlayStation bought Bungie, which was a head scratcher because
all about Destiny.
If I recall correctly, Bungie gave up the kitchen sink. There's
a whole thing about it in Shire's book.
Yes, it is. Yeah, in Bloodfoot and Pixels. Yeah. We're not sponsored by Jason Schreier or Bloomberg or Kotaku in any way, but if you're listening, Jason Schreier, we'd love to have you as a guest one day. Anyways, Bungie did everything they could, and the kitchen sink to get out of Microsoft grasps, right? Yeah. And then
they're like, we're free. They're having company dinners and celebrations.
And then now they're crossing the street. They're crossing the E3 alley. And now you're at PlayStation. And like, so Jabari, do you think this is a trend going forward? Like, I'm going to see more of these like mega acquisitions?
I mean, shoot, I feel like this will always happen. Disney is the biggest one, right? We're all assuming that Disney's going to own everything so soon. Shoot, it could be Disney, Microsoft. It will continue.
The other
Microsoft will buy out Disney. Microsoft has $1 trillion. Disney only has a couple billion. So the big difference there.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, each company has its own price, so whoever can pay it, they'll.
But I mean, Nintendo's gone on record, right? Nintendo has gone on record saying that they just want to focus on their Nintendo DNA, right? That they don't want to bring in companies that don't adhere to their first party standards, and
Right.
they just rather just make games, right? So they're I feel like they're in their own little bubble while everybody else is being gobbled up by the other two.
Yeah, Grover's right. Disney has a market capitalization of 258.5 billion. No, that's Disney, while Microsoft is in the trillions. It's 2.29 trillion.
Yeah.
Woo.
And it's because I hear that conversation a lot. When I originally posted it, it's like, oh yeah, just wait till Disney buys out everything. I'm like, no, like it's beyond our realm of like
Understanding.
of how many billions of difference of dollars that Microsoft has over Disney or
Right.
any other corporation.
Right. I think the only one that can compete is Apple.
Yeah.
Apple recently hit the 3 trillion club,
Yeah.
right, in market capitalization. So they have since lost that, but they're right up there with with each other.
Yeah.
So it's going to be between and it's all going to come down to big tech and how much Congress wants to legislate. And
We're gonna need some Theodore Roosevelt level busting, right?
some other different kind of busting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who you gonna call?
Theodore Roosevelt's ghost.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts. That's really bad.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, so Grover, same question for you. Is it a trend or is it just a
So what's the reason? What are the reasons that they're doing this, right? Microsoft's doing all these acquisitions because one, they want Game Pass,
Mm-hmm.
and two, they need first party titles. Microsoft has always been kind of weak on first party titles, right?
Sure.
Other than Halo, can you think of one? Any?
For Microsoft, wasn't it Gears of War one of them?
Yep.
Yep.
But they pretty much got it from who does Unreal? Come on, Epic Games.
Epic Games.
Yeah.
There's another conglomerate right there. Just
Well, Tencent.
Tencent.
Tencent owns Epic Games.
Mm-hmm.
So Tencent's the other conglomerate that's up there. They're
Right.
the biggest game company in the world.
Right.
Microsoft's the biggest tech company. Tencent's the biggest video game.
Albeit Chinese owned, which comes with its own set of.
But I mean, they have they own pretty much most of Unreal Engine.
Right.
And how many companies use Unreal Engine? Right,
A lot.
lot of Microsoft games. Sea of Thieves uses Unreal Engine, which is Tencent. It's all a mess. I'm making a motion with my hands, and I know you guys can't see it, but it's all one ugly, Yeah.
What a mess.
What a mess. Yeah.
As for me, I agree with both of you. I think it's an important trend going forward. Especially when it comes to, like Grover said, the market capitalization of these companies, and it just a number outside our understanding, right? It's just we cannot comprehend how much money $1 trillion is. I mean,
I'd be happy with 75,000.
I mean, shoot. I make a couple $100 in the stock market, and I'm like, I'm the next Warren Buffett.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Small victories, literally.
Every small victory counts. And then the other like, oh yeah, we're buying it. Yeah, 3 trillion. And like just all over the potato salad.
All over the potato salad. But even 10 years ago, buying a company for billions of dollars was unheard of, right? Yeah, I'm in our lifetime it'll be trillions of dollars for sure.
Yeah. It's just an unfathomable amount of money for
us.
It
will be by a company that does not exist as of now.
You think so?
In our lifetime? I mean, Microsoft is only how old?
Yeah, fair enough. At what? 80s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right before we were born.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
It'll be a big purchase by a company as of right now in 2022.
That Elon Musk hasn't created yet.
That does not or somebody who's not even born yet.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Elon Musk is only in his 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah. I've heard from a lot of people he's the first one we're gonna eat. He's the first rich person we're gonna eat the rich, right?
Literally.
He's the first to go. And I'm like, what the hell?
Oh no.
It caught me off guard.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So all right. Grover.
Yeah.
So speaking of things that you never thought you like Microsoft, right?
Sure.
You never thought you were gonna cheer for them. Like you perpetually in the bottom of your, lower than Phil, lower than human filth. What else is something that you've done, but then haven't come to like you swore up and down, I'm never going to do that.
Yeah.
But yet, here we are.
Well, see, when I was in college, I was like, I'm going to work for I'm going to work for a big game company.
Mm-hmm.
I've never even heard the term QA, right?
Sure.
I didn't even know that. I was like, I was going to become either a developer or a video game programmer or whatever. I just never I didn't realize what my career aspirations were going to be until like my senior year of college.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I graduated, I was like, okay, I want to do this. I find joy out of breaking things or doing this. And I applied for a lot of game companies. I applied for Nexon, who knows how many times, and got that nice rejection letter. And I was like, you know what? Let me do software as the day job.
Mm-hmm.
Like just general software. It's predictable pay. It's safe, right? And then I'll do game development on my own, right? Rather than working for a game company. And based off of what I've seen in the last couple of years, I'm kind of happy with that decision. Because one, I like stable income.
Sure.
I see what happens to me when I don't have stable income, or if it even is a threat that I don't have stable, I start bursting out in rashes and get itchy and get tired.
Shadoe, this is the part in the podcast where you insert that sound like of a firework going straight up and then
exactly.
yeah. That sound.
Yeah, that's what happens to me when I don't realize I'll have stable income.
Right.
And so
the possibility that even a chance.
Yeah, even it's a little chance. I start melting down.
Any non-zero number.
Yeah, and I know in the game industry, now knowing what I know now,
mm-hmm.
I wouldn't live in it very long.
Right.
And I like making games at my own pace, even if it takes 11 years. So
I mean,
so that's something that I thought I once thought I was going to be like a AAA game programmer working at one of the big Microsoft subsidiaries,
mm-hmm.
but I'm really happy where I'm at. So I it's not something I never thought I would be doing indie game development.
Sure.
And here I am.
How about you, Jabari? What's something that you swore up and down you'd never do? And yet here you are.
That's a hard question. I think I swore that, I don't want to ever work a retail job. Yet here I am. And
you are working retail. Yeah.
I always thought, I'll do acting, do maybe office jobs and stuff like that, just more creative stuff. But sometimes those things don't pay as much as it should, and you have to go find something else. So here I am working at Petco, which is nice because
compared to your last job.
Oh yeah, compared to my last job, it's pretty nice. And it's kind of interesting because 15 years ago, when I was just learning about jobs and I'm old enough to get a job, I'm like, I want to work at Petco. I didn't know it was going to take me 15 years to actually start working at a Petco, but yeah, it's interesting. Experience retail once, you don't have to experience it again. I highly.
Well, I could say this on record now because Jabari's out of it, but yeah. I think that people are going to look at the way they did sweatshops and child labor because of how unethical Amazon is, right? With they work workers to pretty much almost death, right? People are working 60.
No, they have worked people to death.
Yeah,
the tornado happened.
I mean,
right?
people are using the restroom in Amazon trucks,
mm-hmm.
right? They don't have time to use the restroom. There was the time off tasks system that's very controversial that they've even implemented into their Whole Foods. I think history will not look kindly on Jeff Bezos and the way he made his billions of dollars.
Mm-hmm. Unless he's the one writing the textbooks.
Yeah. History is won by the victors, I guess.
American history as written by Jeff Bezos and the Amazon Corporation. All held big A.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say, I have a different viewpoint after working there. To be honest, workload and stuff like that, it wasn't too bad. It's what you expect at a warehouse.
Sure.
I didn't have any issues or stress with the actual work that was there.
Mhm.
It's who they hire, like in those leadership positions. I had an issue with my
Right.
boss. I went to a building. I was at my original building, that I was supposed to be working at for a couple months, and I was happy. I loved my boss. We're working as a team, but it was like a month after I got done with all my training and stuff. They asked me if I was willing to go help out a different building, and this building happened to be the worst performing building within Washington. So I knew it was going to be a lot of
Right.
work. But I was like, why is it the worst performing building in Washington? And when I went there and saw who the leadership was of that building, I understood why it was like that. And I can't say too much because I still have contract agreements with them for at least 18
Sure.
months. Now it's going to be like a year or so, but it's really the leadership that's there that can down spiral. Like it's like a snowball. Like if you have terrible leadership, then if things are going wrong, they're not going to take care of it. They're expecting
Right.
other people to do it, or for you just to deal with it. So they can either save money and look good in front of the higher ups for them, or so they can keep their job. They're gonna do this person just happened to do the bare minimum to keep this job. And like new leadership that's going into there, you could it's not a terrible job. They pay you well. It's easy. There's a lot of perks in there and stuff like that. If you're on the floor, if you're being an associate and working hours and hours on the boxes and stuff like that, it's hard work. It's not for everybody. But the leadership is what's really going to be the key thing that could destroy the whole ecosystem there. People going to the bathrooms and stuff like that in the vans and stuff like that. That I saw the eyewitness. That's a totally different thing. But compared to what's happening in the warehouse, what they're doing in the warehouse, I feel is manageable. But I do agree with when people talk about how bad the driving portion of it is. They hire third party contractors for that, and
they
Amazon
hire little independent LLCs.
Yeah.
Who drive Amazon trucks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they're not Amazon employees, but they could be treated like crap by either their employer, their third party employer of Amazon, or they just can't stick with the Amazon, or I think it's maybe that's Amazon's policy. I want to say policy. Amazon standards are probably too high because they just keep pushing it higher. Once you reach a certain bar and it averages out to pushing to that top level, then a new bar is going to be set, which should happen with the business, right? But not everybody can handle that. Every person that goes there is different. They're paid pretty well, but people could fight me on that if they're being paid well or not.
In the comment section.
Well, in general.
I think at the end of the day, right, it's all about what do people value? What do they get out of their work, right? If we're just working to live, is that really life at all, right? And I think going back to the whole part of r/anti-work and all these other like movements, right? Right. People just want to live, man. I mean, yeah. And Grover's, in a very unique position where, depending on his workflow, and what he's caught up on and what he's not, right? He might not be giving it 100% every single day.
Correct.
Right. Whereas, a person where my job is where I have to give 100%.
You have no choice.
what's on the line and what's at
Kids'
stake. Right?
livelihoods and their success at school depends on how well you are as a counselor.
Right.
So there's a lot of pressure.
So
on
and then for you, Jabari, you as a manager right now, right? You literally have you make decisions that impacts people, right? That you make not just in the store, but like these people will look to you, for proper leadership and maybe your time at Amazon, taught you what a good leader should look like, right? Because you learn through the opposite. Who knows, right? I'm a firm believer in things happen the way they happen because that's just for a reason, right? But that's just my personal philosophy, right? My life outlook. But that's where helps me sleep at night, I guess.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you, Jabari, for saying that. Like, hey, this might not work for everyone, right? And that's why you only work retail once, and if you escape, you never have to go back to retail again. And shouts out to everyone manning every fast food drive-through. Shouts out to everyone, trying in the trenches, right? Because hey, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. So I've been there, done that.
I think your dog agrees with you, Paul. I'm just
been there, done that. Got the T-shirt.
Like, you tell it, Paul.
I did what I had to do for 5.5 years to get to where I am now. So
yeah.
So on that note, this has been episode 1 of the On a Whim podcast of season 3. And I'm thinking at some point I'm going to just rename the naming convention of these episodes instead of like season 1, episode 1. I just start wherever number we're at, right? So I think this is like episode, if you're thinking from season, when we first made it audio only, right? The non-YouTube.
Yeah.
I think this is more like episode 10 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So at some point, I'm going to get my crap together and come up with like what number episode this is and just screw up any listeners like numbering convention. I make more work for Jabari and Shadoe. It'll be great.
Sorry, Jabari and Shadoe.
It'll be a gift from me to me.
Happy 2022, everybody.
Yeah, I'm just here to F everything up. So, listener, if you've enjoyed our first episode back, please go ahead and like, follow, rate our podcast on wherever you listen to podcasts. Hopefully, we can get on the Apple podcast, right? That's something we've done, Jabari. We're still working on that.
Apple, I think we're on it.
We're on it. Okay.
Yeah.
I
don't
are
use
available.
It, so I haven't looked at it.
Because we have Buffer, right? I think that's what it's called.
No,
something else. You're the buffers for social media.
For social media. What's the one for
Anchor.
podcast? Anchor. See, I'm
Paul's getting there. He's getting used to the tech that we've used for 2.5 years. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Hey, I just make sure everyone gets paid on time. I don't do anything else.
Yeah. And record podcasts.
And apparently I'm a co-host on a podcast. Please go ahead and rate, listen, subscribe,
and make sure to follow us on all of the social medias at Whimindie.
Mm-hmm.
And wishlist Celatria and wishlist Spellbearers on
please
on Steam. We are releasing very soon, and hopefully I'll be on here to talk a little bit more about the development in future episodes. So please look forward to it, and play through the demos. We have demos of both games available. So.
Exactly. So I've been Paul.
Grover.
Jabari.
And we are your co-hosts on the On a Whim podcast. Until next time, y'all keep it nerdy.
On a Whim!
I love you guys.